Well, welcome everyone. Our first speaker today is Pascale Rusch from the Université Paul Sabatier in Toulouse, and she's going to talk to us about core curves and connectedness loci.
So thank you very much, Anina, for this presentation. And thank you very much for the invitation to speak to this Quasi-World seminar. It's a pleasure to hear. And so I will present my work about connectedness loci. And there will not be a lot of quasi-conformal maps, but it's related to quasi-conformal maps. But I will not go into the detail of it. I will mainly present it. So it's a joint work with Hiroyuki Inu and Yan Kiwi. And oops, sorry. So what is the setting? So I will recall some basic things. So I hope that everybody understands. So what we are looking, it's the dynamics of polynomials. So in the complex plane, so we take polynomial of degree at least 2, and we are interested in understanding the behavior of the iterate, so denoted by Pn of z when we iterate n times. And we want to understand what happens when we change the value of z in C, sorry. So we have this basic decomposition. I don't know if maybe everybody knows, but in case someone don't know, I prefer to recall it because I will need it later. So for when you have a polynomial, you have large value of z that they tend to infinity by iteration of the polynomial. So this gives you the basin of attraction of infinity, all the points z, such that when you iterate the polynomial, they tend to infinity. And the complement of this open set is what we call the filled-in Julia set. So it's a complement of the basin of infinity, but it's also the set of points for which the iteration stay bounded. So the behavior at infinity is more complicated to understand. And at the boundary of this set, so we find what is called the Julia set. We find some points for which the behavior is chaotic because it's at the boundary, so between going to infinity and being bounded, having an orbit which is bounded. And the interior of this filled-in Julia set is what we call the bounded Fatou set. And in the bounded Fatou set, the behavior is stable. So when nearby points have a similar behavior. So, okay. So if we conjugate two polynomial, we have a similar behavior. So when you have a polynomial, we can conjugate them by a conformal map phi. If and only if it's an affine map, because we have to preserve infinity, which is a critical point of maximal multiplicity. So we have to map infinity to another critical point of maximal multiplicity. And the only case where it's not an affine map, it's a case where you have a monomial which is z to the power n. In this case, you can conjugate by 1 over z or lambda over z. So we are not considering this particular case, which is just one polynomial. So in general, we will conjugate through affine map, so az plus b. So the dynamics are comparable. So the converging is similar through the map phi, and the Julia set corresponds. So the Julia set of the polynomial q correspond by the map phi to the Julia set of the polynomial p. So some polynomials are more interesting because they are more easy to understand. They play an important role. It's hyperbolic polynomials. So we say that a polynomial is hyperbolic if we have a Riemannian metric with no singular points, which is expanded on the Julia set by the map P. So we can characterize these hyperbolic polynomials by the dynamical criterion, which is that every critical point is attracted by an attracting cycle. So critical points, they are just zero of the polynomial. And the dynamic of hyperbolic polynomials is quite well understood. So we have models, and so we say it's easy dynamics. Also, when you have polynomials which are nearby hyperbolic polynomials, they have similar behavior. They are, in fact, quasi-conformally conjugate. So we understand the dynamics nearby hyperbolic polynomial, which is a big set because it's an open set. And the question is to understand the dynamic when we change in a larger domain, larger space than hyperbolic component. So it's a difficult question, and what we present here, it's a very small step, and what we present is what happens when you are near a hyperbolic component. So so after the boundary of the hyperbolic component, and this is even too difficult. So we have to stay in slices. So it means that we will cut by surfaces. So what is the context of these slices? So as I told you, we can conjugate by affine map, and so we can assume that our polynomial of degree d is monic, so the first coefficient is 1, and its centers, so that the second one is 0 by this affine conjugacy. And so this way to write the polynomial is not dynamical, we just have the coefficient. So what we choose is to mark the critical point. So have a dynamical parametrization this way. So our set poly D correspond to, in fact, D complex numbers, which correspond to the critical point. So C1, CD minus 1. And because we ask the polynomial to be centered, we ask that the sum of this critical point is 0. And so this will be the derivative, the 0 of the derivative, okay? And B is just the value at 0. So it's what is written here. So if you take a polynomial, you associate the critical point of the polynomial and the value at 0. So this is a parameterization we take. So for instance, if you have a degree 2, when you ask that the sum of the critical point is 0, in fact, you ask that the critical point is 0, so you find z squared plus b. B is the value at 0, and the parameter space is just dimension 1 is a complex plane. And in this set, we have a dichotomy, which is dynamical. Either the Julia set is connected, or it's a Cantor set. And if we plot the parameter b such that the Julia set is a Cantor set, we find the blue part on this picture that you know, and the black part is called the Mandelbrot set. I will need this definition later. The Julia set is connected in the Mandelbrot set. So we call it the connectedness locus, the set of parameter C such that the Julia set of Z squared plus C is connected. So in this, so maybe I show you the picture. In this slice, one-dimensional slice, you can see the hyperbolic component. For instance, the main cardioid here is exactly the parameter for which we have an attracting fixed point, and the critical point is attracted by the attracting fixed point. But you can see other hyperbolic component, and around any hyperbolic component, so here you can see very small hyperbolic component, there is always a copy of the Mandelbrot set. So you see the picture here. And this result follow from the theory of renormalization, which is developed by Dwadi and Hubbard in the context of polynomial-like maps. So what is exactly a copy of the Mandelbrot set and polynomial-like mappings? So a map F is called a polynomial-like mapping. If you have two simply connected Riemann surfaces U and U prime, that you can take a disk if you want in the Riemann sphere, for instance. And the closure of U prime is included in U. And the degree of the map, so F is a proper map. It's analytic, so you can define its degree, and the degree is K. So it seems to be like a polynomial from very far away. So you have a picture like this, so this picture comes from the article of Dwadi and Hubbard, and in fact it's a cosine Z, which is restricted to some domain, which look like a polynomial, in fact. And for a polynomial-like map, you can define the filled-in Julia set associated to this map, which is in fact the pullback by the map F all of U, or U prime. In fact, you will get the same. You pull back by all the iterate, and you take the intersection. So it corresponds to the point staying always in U by all the iteration. So Dwadi and Hubbard prove that when you have a polynomial like of degree K, like this, there exists a real polynomial P of the same degree K, and a neighborhood of the filled Julia set of the polynomial P, such that the map F will be conjugate to P by a map phi, which is a quasi-conformal homomorphism. And moreover, this map phi is holomorphic in the interior of the Julia set, the filled-in Julia set. So we don't have unicity in general, but if the filled Julia set is connected, then P is unique. Of course, up to affine conjugacy. So the theory of renormalization appears when we can define this polynomial P. So when it's unique, so we assume that the Julia set is connected. And to get that the filled Julia set is connected, we get it if the critical point is not escaping the domain U of definition. Okay, so here I show you the small copy of the Mandelbrot set, and in this case, I take a small a point in the 1/3 limb of this small copy, and so you can locate the critical point, its image by F, So it's not the f of the polynomial like, but it's so maybe I call it a PC. So I have a polynomial PC here. So the green arrows show you the iterate of the critical point, and you see a copy of a small Julia set. So after 1, 2, 3, 4 iteration, it's coming back to this place here, but turning inside the small Julia set. So if you take the fourth iterate, so PC iterated 4 times, what you get is a domain that you can draw like an ellipse, which is mapped by f, so PC to the power 4 to a larger domain. So it satisfies the hypothesis. And this is a polynomial-like map of degree 2, because the critical point is not coming back before. So you can straighten and find that this fourth iterate is conjugate, in fact, to a polynomial that you recognize being in the 1/3 limb of the Mandelbrot set. So the existence of the copy of the Mandelbrot set is following from all these results. It's a little complicated to state, so I don't want to state all in the all detail. So I just take a family depending on a parameter lambda, which is in the disk. And this family is analytic, so depending analytically on lambda. And there are some assumptions. I don't need to state them here because it's not exactly the purpose of my talk, but it's my talk is based on this result, so I prefer to state it. So I state it here in the case of quadratic-like maps, but you also have it with other degree. So the straightening results that I showed you just before give you that if you have an analytic family of polynomial-like map of degree 2, like here, then you can associate a polynomial of degree 2, so of the form z square plus c, and this c is a function of lambda, which is called chi, so f for the family f of lambda. And the conjugacy to from f lambda to this polynomial is quasi-conformal, as I told you before. And this map is continuous. And if you look at the parameter for which, so we have unicity, so maybe it's not D here, because we need to have the unicity to get the continuity. So we define the set MF such that the Julia set of this polynomial-like is connected. So it's the connectedness locus, the set of lambda in D, such that the Julia set of f lambda is connected. So this connected locus is compact, and this map chi f give you an homomorphism between the connectedness locus MF and the Mandelbrot set. And to get an homomorphism, we need just some assumption on the degree of the parametrization of this family lambda. So I don't want to enter in the detail, but you need to make only one turn with the critical value when you turn around the connectedness locus in the parameter space. When you turn around MF, when your parameter lambda turn around MF, you need to do only one turn with the critical value around the critical point. So this is a technical detail, just to get an homomorphism. Otherwise, you can get covering with some degree. So this explains you why you see copies of a Mandelbrot set around each hyperbolic component in the quadratic family. So you have also results in degree greater than 2. So in degree 3, for instance, so there are some work of Milnor. So if you look at polynomial of degree D, you can also define the connectedness locus, and Milnor proved that it's compact, connected, and full. And he suggested to look at slices to understand this connectedness locus, at least in degree 3.
So sorry to interrupt. What do you mean
Yes.
by full? What do you mean by full?
That the complement, maybe I'm wrong, the complement is contractible? No? Is that? Okay, so I don't need it I don't need it here. So maybe. Okay. The complement of the connectedness locus. Okay, maybe it's only in degree 3. Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. So to understand this space, this connectedness locus, even with a polynomial of degree lower than 3, it's really complicated. So Milnor suggested to look at slices. And so I show you a first example where we have some result, but there are others. So in this slice, you have one critical point, which is A, with this parametrization, which is fixed. And you have 2 critical points, so you have one free critical point. And in the red part, so the Julia set is not connected. And in the black and white, the Julia set is connected. So the connectedness locus is this lemon shape with decorations. And sorry. So what you can see here is a central part which is white. And in this central part, you find the parameter A equals 0, so the polynomial Z cube. And every polynomial here are quasi-conformally conjugate to Z cube in the neighborhood of the Julia set. And sorry, in the black region that you can see here, you find quadratic-like restriction of the map or of some iterate of the map, as I showed you before for the Mandelbrot set. And applying this result of Douady and Hubbard, you can prove that these are copies of the Mandelbrot set. And then you find a small white disk. This corresponds to the free critical point being mapped by some iterate of F to the basin of the fixed critical point. Oops, sorry. So this is you can see a copy of the Mandelbrot set, and in fact you can make a partition decomposition of this slice and prove that you can understand all these slice either with so the initial part, which is quasi-conformally conjugate to the cube, or copies of the Mandelbrot set, or what is called capture, this white disk, meaning that the critical point is mapped after some iteration in the basin of attraction of the critical fixed point. Okay, and so what we have done with Hiroyuki Inoue and Yan Kiwi is to generalize to other curves this result. And so I will explain you how we define these particular curves that we called critical orbit curve, and several people called it like this also. So so the idea is to start from hyperbolic polynomials, and to start from hyperbolic polynomials, we want to have post-critically finite hyperbolic polynomials, and we want to recognize something which is larger than this hyperbolic component, but in the connectedness locus intersected with this slice. So the result that we get is the following, and I will explain the term of the result after. So we start with the core curve that I will define after, which is called chi, and a map F star, which is relatively hyperbolic. So it means it's in some sense hyperbolic, but it may have some critical orbit relation, which are given by the critical orbit relation curve, by the core curve. So you can have one critical point, which is mapped by some iteration to some fixed point, some cycle. So we prove that there is a compact set which is included in the intersection of the connectedness locus of the space of polynomial of degree D with this core curve chi, such that in this compact set C of F star, every map is conjugate to a map of some model family that I will define later. And what we get is that this connectedness, this compact set in the connectedness locus in this core curve is homeomorphic to the connectedness locus of this model family. And the model family, we find it by the type of the hyperbolic polynomial F star. So for each F star, we get a type of map, and this type of map gives us a model family, and the connectedness locus of this model family is what we will see in the slice, in the connectedness locus of this slice. So this is the result. Now I will explain all the terms and also illustrate this by pictures. And
sorry to interrupt, a quick question.
Yes, yeah.
This is an analog of the Doherty-Hubbard theorem, right? About the Mandelbrot set.
Yes, exactly. And what we get as a corollary, so this is a work in progress, that in fact in all this core curve, the boundary of the relative hyperbolic component are Jordan curve, because we have this homomorphic to this model family. And for this model family, we can prove that the boundary is a Jordan curve. So this, an illustration of this. So here is a family where we have two critical points forming cycles, so two cycles. And we have a degree 4 polynomials. So one critical point is 3. So in red, it's a place where the Julia set is not connected. So I have the formula, but it's not very interesting. And what I want to show you is that when I take this hyperbolic component, we find so the C of F star. So F star is the center of this hyperbolic component, and C of F star correspond to a domain that is contained in the curve I have drawn. So you have to take out a lot of this decoration, okay? And the homeomorphism, it is between this C of F star and the previous slice, sorry, I show you with this cubic polynomial. So you see the Z cube here, correspond to here. And here you have this copy of Mandelbrot set attached. And I have also other pictures which are maybe most known, which are the case in the cubic polynomials when you have a period 2 cycle, a critical point, which is of period 2. If you zoom on this part, I don't remember which part it was. So one of these, okay, you get this. So I turn it, and you see also here, this part correspond to this connectedness locus of this family, which is one of the model family. But you have another, this one is different from this one, okay? So you cannot see it from the picture. I mean, it's not easy to see, but in fact, by the dynamic, we know that it's different. And the CF star, the compact set containing the starting point F star, correspond to this, is homeomorphic to this family, which is another one, which is a composition of two quadratic polynomials. So here you have the slice where in the cubic, one critical point is of period 3. So you have a lot of different hyperbolic components that you see in the connectedness locus in black. So sometimes you can recognize a small Mandelbrot set, but also you can recognize here a little piece here that is exactly the same as the one we had before in the cubic slice. And you have also a domain like this. So when you turn it, you recognize the composition of two quadratic. And the last one, I think, is between two big Mandelbrot set, like this. And they correspond also to the cubic that I show you at the beginning. So those are the three types. Of course, you have also the Mandelbrot set, and of course, you have also captures. So I didn't speak about this. So I recall you the theorem that we have. So we have a dynamical homeomorphism. So it means that we have an homeomorphism between the connectedness locus and the map which corresponds through this homeomorphism are conjugated. So now I want to define this set C of F star, and then I will define the core curve C, and after I will explain you how to find the model family. So when you have a polynomial of degree D with a connected Julia set, the basin of infinity is homeomorphic to the unit disk, and it's conformal homeomorphic to the disk, and you have the Riemann map that conjugate the dynamic of F to Z to the power D. And this allows you to define the external ray, which are called RF of theta, in the basin of infinity. They are just imaged by the ray, the straight ray of angle theta in the unidisk. And if theta is rational, these curves, which are called rays, they land at point on the Julia set. And this allows to define rational lamination. So this is used in the work of Jan Kiwi, but several people also, Thurston used it a long time ago. And it's useful to give a model of the Julia set. So we take two angles θ1 and θ2, and we assume that they are rational. And we say that they are equivalent if the two external rays, rθ1 and rθ2, they land at the same point. So we note by this we note this lamination by lambda of f. And so if you remember in the Mandelbrot set, you see that you get a smaller Julia set which appears. So it means that you get identification of points in the hyperbolic component. So it means that you get lamination which is more complicated, which has more elements. So to define a neighborhood of this hyperbolic component, which correspond to something which can be a potential renormalization, what Jan Kiwi defined is the combinatorial renormalizable set, which correspond to have lamination which contain more than the starting lamination. So it's like a tuning. Okay, so you define this set C of F star. And of course, if you have a hyperbolic map F star, the hyperbolic component containing F star will be contained in this combinatorially renormalizable set. If you look in the Mandelbrot set to the Basilica, z squared minus 1, you see that what corresponds to renormalization of this Basilica is just a small copy of the Mandelbrot set, which is centered at the disk containing -1. So it's not all the member starting from the a parabolic point, but it's a small copy of the Mandelbrot set inside. Because at some point, you do not contain this lamination. Okay. So now I want to explain which kind of slices we are looking at. So we try to get a slice, a one parameter slice, which is the most general possible. So as I told you, we want to parameterize by the critical point so that we have a dynamical parameterization. So what we ask is to have one free critical orbit. And what do we mean by this? We mean that the ground orbit, we have only one ground orbit containing a free critical point. So what is a free critical point? It's a critical point which has an infinite orbit, and there is no critical point in its forward orbit. So if you have a critical point in the orbit of another critical point, the one which is free is the last one. Okay? So we still have one orbit with one critical point. And you can have two free critical points in the same ground orbit, So I give you an example. So just, it's not this example, it's the next one. So in this example, it's just the family we start with. So the cubic family with two critical points A and minus A. And the one which is free is just minus A because A is fixed. So when we change this family, putting a 2A here, what we get is that, so still the critical point are A and minus A, and the critical value, so GA of A is equal to 2A, this parameter here. And if we iterate twice, we get the same image as the critical value corresponding to minus A. So we have two free critical points, A and minus A, they are free, and they belong to the same grand orbit. So this is a kind of map we want to consider. So how to define this? We start with a polynomial, f naught, and not f star, it's really f naught, which has only one free critical orbit. So how to find such a polynomial? For instance, you can take a polynomial with post-critically finite, which is post-critically finite and maybe hyperbolic, and you perturb a little one critical point. So then you have one free critical orbit. So there exists. And if you have only one free critical orbit, it means that all the other critical points, so you have d minus one critical point, and you have a relation between them. Either some iterate are mapped to a fixed or a cycle, a periodic cycle, but it means that you have a relation like this with the J equal to A, but you can also have a relation between two critical points. Some iterate N of Ci is equal to some iterate M of Cj. So this is the starting relation. And to define a slice with this, so you consider all the polynomial of degree D such that if you have a critical orbit relation like this for your starting polynomial f naught, then you ask that you have this critical orbit relation also for the polynomial you consider. So this defines you a set to be called Y. And it's maybe complicated. So what we take for a core curve is a irreducible component which contain f naught. And so there are some classical results of transversality by several people telling you that at our polynomial f naught, having one free critical orbit, the map is smooth. Sorry, the set Y is smooth. So you can you can take the irreducible component containing f naught. You don't have a problem at this point. So this is what we call the core curve. So I give you very quickly a example. So maybe the most classical example are in the cubic. You have a parameterization by the critical point and the critical value. And you ask that you have a cycle of period n. Okay, so you have two critical points. So one is having a cycle of period n, and the other one is free. And Arfeu and Kiwi, they prove that this per n0, they form an irreducible set. So the core curve is exactly the per n0. So this is per 2, 0, I show you already. This is per 3, 0, I showed you already. And to justify that what we are looking for is interesting, we can I want to state this result of Favre and Gauthier, who say that the core curve, in fact, are the algebraic curve having the most a lot of post-critically finite map. And since we want to do some renormalization around relative hyperbolic polynomials, we need to start with post-critically finite polynomials, at least relative post-critically finite polynomials. So I just want to cite this result to say that the core curve are really the good things to look at. So this result states that in the cubic polynomial, if you have an irreducible curve containing infinitely many post-critically finite polynomials, then it is necessarily of one of these forms, either one of the two critical points is going to a cycle, so it's pre-periodic, and we have this relation in all the curve, or we have a collision between the two critical orbits, so it's exactly the critical orbit relation I showed you before, or we have a very specific curve which have some symmetry. So, okay. So now I want to explain a little more about the theorem. So we look at the connectedness locus, the intersection of the connectedness locus and our core curve, chi. So the map are the Julia set are connected. So there are some different picture of the set connectedness set. And so we have in the core curve chi, we have the critical orbit relation, which is persistent in all the curve. So we can change the index of the critical point so that the free critical point correspond to the D first critical point. And D is the degree of the critical point we start at F naught. F naught has one free critical point of degree D, and we put the index so that are the first one. And so now we want to look at relatively hyperbolic, because we have this critical orbit relation, so you will not always have hyperbolic map, but you will have hyperbolic relative to the core curve. And what does it mean? It means that the free critical points will be attracted by an attracting cycle. So it is in the basin of an attracting cycle. So we call H this relative hyperbolic component. And what we can see is that in all the slides, in all this hyperbolic component, we are attracted by one cycle that we can follow in the hyperbolic component. And so we can prove that we have a unique PCF map in this hyperbolic component in this core curve, and we call it the center, and this is the one that we call F star. And at this particular point, the free critical points will collide with the cycle or preimage of the cycle. And this will give us the type of the center and explain which kind of map we have to look at. So for the rest of the talk, I will put some assumptions that I call star, and it's just to state the family more quickly, so it's more easy to understand the family, the model family. So we assume that the critical point is in the immediate basin of the cycle and not in the preimage. It corresponds to captures, and I don't want to look at capture. It is not difficult, but it's more complicated to state all the results. And also assume that there is no post-critical point on the boundary of the immediate basin, because it's a little more complicated to state. And also that we don't create new critical orbit relation when we have this collision at the parameter f star. So we assume this for the rest of this talk. And then we can associate type to the map f star as follow. So at the center, the critical point will collide with periodic cycle, which is just attracting and not super attracting, as in the Mandelbrot set. And then we get a family which is of type we call UD. If we have a collision with a cycle which is attracting and critical, and the critical point is of degree d prime, then we say that it's of type A, D, D prime, and we assume that there is no extra critical point in the orbit. So first, in the first case, we assume also there is no extra critical point, so only the free critical point colliding with the attracting. In the third case, what we can have is that the collision of the free critical point happen with an orbit having an extra critical point, which is not in the basin. So you have a periodic cycle, and you have another critical point, which is far away, and maybe several critical points, but the return map is of degree d prime. And the last situation is that your free critical point collide with a critical point, which correspond to a super attracting fixed point, and there is also other critical points which are not in the immediate basin and which are also in this in the orbit, and the return map is of degree d second. So you have 4 types of possible collision depending on where are the critical points. Okay, so I recall you the theorem. So we have defined f star, we have defined C of f star, and now we have defined the type of f star, and now we have to define the model family associated. So the first model family for the first type UD, when we have a collision with an attracting fixed point, which is not critical, the model is just the family ZD plus C. So you have an attracting fixed point, like for the Mandelbrot set in the main cardioid, but you have several, you have a degree which is larger than D. So you get the connectedness locus, which is a multi-Brod set. In the second case, you have the free critical point, which is colliding with a critical point of degree d prime. And this corresponds to this family. So you have a collision with omega and omega prime. And f of omega prime is equal to omega prime, correspond to your cycle and your first return map. It was periodic, now it's fixed. And what you get is a family here in degree 2 for d prime equal 2 in the cubic case. You get exactly this one. You have one critical point which is fixed. When you have a collision with a cycle which is not critical, but containing a critical point in its orbit, in fact, you have to decompose your map in 2. So it's like a fiber polynomial. So you will compose F and G. F and G are polynomial, but they are acting on different complex plane.
So sorry to interrupt, Pascal.
Yes.
We're running
Yes.
a little bit out of time. So
Okay, sorry. Okay, I should
Maybe
stop.
you can.
I thought it was 1 hour. Sorry.
Yeah, we have
Oh,
50
sorry.
minutes plus 10 minutes for questions. Sorry for this.
Okay.
No, but maybe you skip the third and fourth model families to somehow get to the main point.
Okay. So these are the family. So it's a composition of polynomial. So these are all the picture when you see this result. And so I wanted to add some comment about the result. So Wei Chaoshen and Yiming Wang, they prove similar result, but in the case of hyperbolic, only hyperbolic and primitive case. So and Yiming Yang also had some non-hyperbolic case, but with some technical assumption. I don't want to go into this. And there are also some results from Kao, Wang, and Yin, who prove that in the capture case, so I didn't speak about the capture case, they prove it's always a sphere, the boundary of this component, but it's not dynamical. And also Wang, he proves that in the slice pair and zero, the boundary are Jordan curves, but it's not dynamical also. And so in our work, we have some maps which are not hyperbolic. We start with maps which are not hyperbolic. And we allow also a critical point in the Julia set, which are preperiodic, but we want them to be a little far from what happened. And we also allowed satellite renormalization, not only primitive one. And well, okay, I don't want to get into the sketch of the proof, but the idea is to do the Douady-Hubbard proof once again and prove that the non-renormalizable parameters are just some point, finite number of points, and we can see the difference between them, and we can glue them back. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's thank the speaker. Comments or questions? So can you maybe say something about, what are some promising future directions here for this line of investigation?
So in my opinion, then we can so we start with so F star is post-critically finite, and what I imagine then is to move and to change the multiplier from 0 to some lambda, and then go to some multiplier which is of modulus 1, and then to get a bigger set containing not only a slice, but to have some neighborhood of the slice by just deforming the multiplier.
Yeah, this actually brings me to my other question. Is there any kind of hope to somehow understand these, connectedness loci for higher degree polynomials instead of just looking at slices, or are things just too complicated?
So Luo is working on this, and it seems to be complicated. He proves that the intersection can have self bumps. You can have self bumps in hyperbolic component and in the intersection of two also. So it's not very easy. But it's the idea is to understand slices and to perturb them in our work.